Wish that you were better.
Yeah, it's like a company. It's our company mic. But Nick,
Those
Forum,
gifts.
we are live. We are live to these beautiful people. I'm gonna pin this to the top so we get more likes, more love. I want to get as much love as possible. You know what I'm saying?
Always, man. Hey, should I look in the marketing agency secrets group for comments, or what should I do?
We're gonna read comments as they come. We're usually the way this works is I usually just go a little bit about your story, drop as much value as you can, and then we do Q&A at the very end. Then drop anything that you want these people to have, whether it's to follow you, whatever it is. So, Nick Horm, it's February 11th, 2021. It's been a long journey, my friend. We've come a long way, huh?
Yeah, man. Our growth with seven-figure agency is crazy. It was probably July or August of 2019 that we first got started with you guys and Joel. And it's been a crazy, barely year and a half of growth since then. So I'm super excited for all those other people who are watching right now and probably looking to do the exact same thing. So I'm excited for all of them hopping on too.
I know, and I always look at it like from a future perspective. Imagine I showed you this video of you with the 2cc award back in July of 2019. You'd be like, dude, maybe you didn't even think it was possible. Maybe you did, but either way, it's crazy to get it once you actually have a hold of it, right?
That's what that's what bolting on a crazy talented team of people like Omer, Sergio, Mark, Isaac, maybe that Joel guy, who knows, but Jana, like, dude, people who aren't moving forward and taking the next step, like, confused why, but it's been crazy growth. I'm super excited to just share with everybody.
Yes, so we're gonna get started in a couple minutes. But if you guys are live, let's see if there's about 15 people live. Give us some love. Give us a hashtag live or hashtag live if you're watching it live. If you're watching the replay, hashtag replay. You guys know the process that we dial here. I have Mr. Nicholas Korm, who I've known for a very long time. One of the people that when I first started was like you said, we go back to like July, but we met back in Nick and I met I think it was for the first time. It was at the event or a mastermind, but I think we connected at Tony Robbins. We were Tony Robbins literally shoulder by shoulder. We did the fire walk together, which I still talk about till today. And I think it's today. I don't know about you, Nick, but to me that it was not that hard. I thought it was coming up a joke. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I think we were preparing for it for 12 hours, and when you actually do it, you're like, that's it.
Firewalk was too easy for Omer.
Dude, for you too. I mean, Nick did it quick. He did it in 16 milliseconds.
Yeah, Tony Robbins. So yeah, for those who aren't getting the context, Omer and a handful of other people it was November of 2019 where we were at Tony Robbins Unleash the Power Within in downtown Miami. So that was amazing. It's just, you got to surround yourself with the high-powered, heavy-hitting, super talented people. Like, you just level up when you actually pay money and do stuff like Tony events. So I love that. I encourage that for everybody.
Awesome. I'm excited, Nick. So the way like I said in a couple minutes ago, the way I usually construct these is I always start with people's stories, because actually, as long as I've known you, I don't really know what got you into this game, because I know obviously you were a digital nomad, you were living in Colombia, and I want to get through all of that. So like, dude, how the hell did you get into this space? Because you are relatively talented. I feel like you could be doing anything right now, but you're in the digital marketing space. So what happened? How did you get here?
You know, I feel, Omer, that most people who begin their entrepreneurial journey like I did, it really started out of frustration. And I don't know if other people will resonate with this, but, you know, I was somebody who went to university, and I always felt like, you know, university isn't for me. I don't know if I'm doing the right thing. I feel like this is a waste of time, but, you know, I still put in the work. And then I got out of university and I started working for somebody else. I did a lot of high ticket sales. I worked for SaaS software companies. I did consulting stuff. I even worked outside the US in Brazil for another tech company. And throughout that whole time, all I could think of was, you know, I see all these other like super talented young people in the space who are running their own like consulting business or advertising agency or SMMA. And I always looked at them and thought, like, you know, why not me? And, you know, I got so frustrated working for other people and also thinking of myself as somebody who could do exactly what I see those other people doing. So I left the world of corporate America and got into entrepreneurship out of frustration. Like Omer, I was straight up just not happy with, having somebody else be my boss and reporting to them and making money for them. So that was really how I got started. I was scared to invest into Dan Henry's program for 997 big bucks, Omer. Those are big dollars for somebody who's never really invested before. And I actually was so scared that I had to hit up one of my buddies from university at the time. And I was like, yo, man, you put me onto this Dan Henry course, but like, I'm scared. I don't really want to go all in on this. Like, let's split it 50-50. Like, I'll put 500 down, you put 500 down. And the very first thing I learned was, in 6 months, I didn't watch a single damn video or take a single action on that course. And the reason was, I was kind of like half-assing my entrepreneurial journey from the start. And then the next opportunity that I had to really double down on entrepreneurship and start an agency, it was paying another mentor like $1,000 for an hour of his time. And I was scared. I'm probably like everybody on this video who, I think everybody knows that we need to pay somebody else money to have, number one, skin in the game so you actually hold yourself accountable. But two, surround yourself with the right people who are actually going to help you grow. And I wish I had learned that much earlier in my entrepreneurial journey, because the first time I did that, I paid somebody $1,000 for an hour of their time. And I came to that call with like 18 questions, just took amazing notes, got a ton of value out of that. And it really kicked my entrepreneurship journey into overdrive right then. Now I started realizing the power of investing in myself and putting down big dollars for coaching or mentorship. And then since then, the rest is history. Like, I've spent $50,000 in either mentorship or paid education in the 12 months after that. And then probably in the last 12 months, I've easily cleared over $100,000 in personal mentorship, business development, Tony Robbins events like the one we were at last year. So my entrepreneurial journey, dude, it started out of frustration. I didn't want to work for somebody else, but I was scared to really invest in myself and move forward with a coaching program or mentorship. And now, much later in my career, I just turned 30. We did $1.5 million last year in the calendar year of 2020. And now I can't wait to pay other people money to coach me, to train me, to help me grow faster. And that's been my journey. And I wish I learned that lesson much earlier. And I feel like that's a good lesson for everybody who's in this free group. It doesn't have to be the 7-figure agency team, but it's got to be somebody. You've got to put skin in the game, put money on yourself, bet on yourself, go all in on yourself. And if you decide to do it with the 7-figure agency team, great. But if you decide not to, if you're just lurking, I think that's the one thing that I wish I learned earlier. Again, I did it with Dan Henry. I wish I had started earlier. I wish I had taken it seriously. So that's my journey. Started with frustration. Now it's, man, I wish earlier that I had just invested in paid mentorship, coaching earlier. And that's all I take moving forward. It's how can I pay more people money to help me move faster through this journey?
That's amazing. What kind of job was it? Because, dude, sometimes when people say corporate world, everybody thinks it's an office job and it's a boring job, but sometimes corporate world could be fun. You can have fun jobs at a corporate world. Was it the job that was you're I don't want to do this? Was it just you never wanting to work for someone else? What kind of job was it?
Throughout my university days, I spent a lot of time in internships with Fortune 100 companies doing something called procurement. It's called IT or even internal procurement. All that means is you're basically finding ways to save companies hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars every year on the stuff they spend millions of dollars on, like cell phone plans for a 10,000 employee company, servers, you pay hundreds of thousands of dollars in server fees every single month. Or year rather. So I was doing a lot of that and a lot of digital advertising. So I had marketing internships and sales internships. And then when I got out of university, I immediately started working for a tech company who was in Brazil at the time. And then I, assumed a full-time director of sales role for an upstart software company in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, where I'm from. And about 6 months in, I started closing these extremely high ticket deals. One day on the very final day of February in 2017, almost 4 years ago right now to this date, I think I closed 3 contracts in a single day for a total of $88,000. So I almost had a 6-figure day. And I was like 24, 25 at the time. I was a year out of school because I graduated late. And then I went to my boss and I had an honest conversation. I was like, I feel like I'm making a $40,000 per year salary, and this horrible, horrible 4-letter word in the sales world, Omer, your draw structure. It was like, well, hey, like the commission that you're going to get on this, it's going to be significant. But it comes on January 1st of the following year. So I was faced with like this really internal like struggle, for the month of March 2017. I was like, I just busted my ass for 6 months and now I'm starting to close deals. And, I'm going to get the same like $1,737 per month biweekly paycheck that I had been getting for the last like 5 months that I was there. And I was also living at home with my parents. Like I wasn't 100% committed to the work role. And I knew like deep down, I knew what I think most people watching this video and most people who follow you guys in 7-figure agency, like we all know, I think we're destined for something greater than working for somebody else's company that we like don't have a significant role in like growing and wanting to grow, right? So many people like we look for opportunities to like they're like milestone or stepping stone opportunities. Like how is, me doing sales at this company going to get me to the next opportunity? And I think too many of us are afraid to do what like I was afraid to do too, which was like say F that to that whole world and just go all in on myself. And, I eventually made that decision. And to this date, like I still value everything that I got out of university internships, corporate working world, the experience that I got learning from other people who do high ticket sales. That company, had a revenue goal of doing $1 million in sales in that first year. When Brett and I merged forces together in November of 2019, the year to date or the 12-month timeline of, us joining forces, it was like 1.2 million. And, I looked back and I reflected and I was like, holy shit, we just built the company that somebody else, I was a part of somebody else's company who had that same goal. And I think you have at some point like realize, if I'm going to put a lot of work into something, it's going to be for me in a healthy way, right? Like it's believing in myself. Like the reason that I think people don't take that leap early enough. And by the way, if you're like 18, 19 or 22 years old and super young, like shout out to all the young guys who are killing it. Like there are young people who are killing it on the 7-figure agency team, right? There are super young people in the 7-figure agency program and even the inner circle, like Giovanni and Donovan on our team, 19 years old and 22 years old, or 22 years old and 19 years old. Just killers, savages. They're out here in Denver. Like they moved out here because they wanted to work with somebody else who was in a high powered, like we really want to actually help people transform their business. And I think the messaging that we, shared with them before they even joined, it was super clear. But, when I was like in my university journey from the age of like literally 19 to 25, like I really fucked up in university hard. I never found another company like that where I was like, you know what, I want to move out to where you're at and work with you and build this thing. So this really is the world where you'll find like-minded people who want to go through the exact same journey. They want the challenges that owning an agency is. Like now we have on any given month, it's 80 to 120 active clients with like 20 to 30 people paused, 20 to 30 people with a failed payment or pending payment. But, the challenges at scale, they're different challenges from the, challenges that you get going from 0 to 10K a month, 10 to 30K a month, and then 30 to 50, 50 to 100, 100 to 200K, which is, now we're consistently at 200K plus months. So it's just falling in love with the journey. I'm excited and I'm appreciative for what I did in my university days because it taught me so much. And I just wish that people watching this video would learn earlier in the entrepreneurial journey for them. Like, don't be afraid to go all in on yourself. That's just one thing that I wish I could have told myself earlier. Like everybody knows at some point you are going to figure it out. Do you want it to take 7 years like it took me to figure it out? And then when I started my entrepreneurial journey at the age of 25 or 26, like, do you want to take 4 years to get to, the first $1 million run rate where you actually hit like 1.5 million in a year? Or do you want to be a part of a program that is going to guide you on that transformation and actually help you every step of the way. So again, not selling anybody's program, but it's just the mentality behind it. Like, I was scared. We all have our own investment journey. Like, I'd be curious to hear what yours was too, Omer, because you literally have it tatted on your freaking knuckles. And show the world, like, you got it tatted. It's like self-education over what? Like, what's the quote?
Self-education or formal education. Yeah.
I mean, that sentiment, like, I have something else tatted on my chest, but if I were to get one other thing like ingrained on my body that I believe in so much, it would be that. It's just go all in on yourself. Like, take the leap. Don't be scared. But you have to do it sooner rather than later. Like, the time was 10 years ago. The time was 2 years ago. The time was 1 year ago.
Yes.
Next best time is like right now. So for everybody watching, like, I highly encourage that.
Yeah. And we're going to get to Gio, Donovan, and obviously Brett, your business partner. So I'm actually curious. So you're frustrated with your job, not making nearly as much money as you should, but it sounds like you feel like you have the it factor where you believed in yourself. Even if you were scared, you still wanted to take a chance on yourself. So you bought Dan Henry's course, and then talk to me, like, okay, 6 months went by. When did you start making progress? Did you start off with med spas? Who were your first clients? Did you have a business partner before? Because I think when I met you originally, like, you didn't. You were by yourself, and then obviously you partnered up. So, like, after you bought Dan Henry's course, what were the next, like, steps for you?
So after I bought that course, I mentioned it earlier, like, I implemented almost zero of it. And the reason why was, number one, I spent too little on it. Like, it was a $997 course. And I was one of those people who's probably in this group who's like, I can't even, like, put that money out here. So I'm going to go halvesies on it with somebody else. So I implemented almost zero of it for like 6 months. And then later in 2017, I got serious. And I got my very first client. It was late 2017. It was actually Dr. Elliott. Shout out Dr. Elliott in Baton Rouge. Worked with him for over like 14 months. And I'm sure we'll work together again in the near future. And he is a doctor. He's a medical professional in Baton Rouge he's a medical spa. And, I fell into that world of medical spas, much like people deliberate, like, what's the best niche? Like, they're all like different. Like, I got to find the right one. And at the time, like, I was struggling with the exact same thing. So I was like, are med spas it? And like, I thought they were. So I went all in on that. So over the course of 2018, for that year, I probably got up to maybe a consistent 15 to 20 something clients per month, doing about like maybe $10,000 to $20,000 per month on average throughout that whole year. And after Dan Henry, I started looking for, other mentors. Jeff Miller was actually my next one. It was the November of 2018. So just over 2 years now, I believe, that I got started with Jeff's program, the Ask Agency Scaling Secrets group, which was amazing. That was the program that helped me go from, 10 to 15 clients consistently to about, 15 to 25 until like, everything started breaking again. You have 25, 30 clients, Omer can't talk to everybody in a day while he's also doing sales, while he also does his own marketing, while he also does fulfillment for his clients. Right. So I started, building out systems around me, but I still couldn't fully remove myself from anything. I had an account manager, but I was still the one who had to make the ask for them to renew at the end of the month. I had somebody doing fulfillment for Facebook ads, but, I had to still reach out to Andrew and say like, hey, we're doing this wrong. Like, this needs to be better. So 2019 was a journey of, starting to get organized. And at this stage, early 2019, before I joined Joel's program, before I joined Seven Figure Agency, it was just me plus around 4 to 5 people in my business. So one guy, Rafa, who's Venezuelan, shout out Rafa if you're watching. He was crushing sales with me. So he and I were both doing sales, and it was fantastic. I had one guy white labeling for me who was doing media buying or ads. And then I had 1 or 2 people who were like Zapier or at the time ClickFunnels or HighLevel wizards. So they were just helping me with like, that stuff. But I kind of did everything. And I got up to like consistent $20,000 months, then $30,000 months. Had one $40,000 month in like June or July of 2019, like right after joining Joel's program. And then right up before his mastermind, which was Breckenridge, October of 2019. And then right after that was actually Unleash the Power Within, Tony Robbins, November of 2019. leading into that month, I did like $47,000 in that month leading up to that. Like you guys might remember, like I closed like 18 people in like 2 weeks right before the Breckenridge Mastermind. And, I got to the event and, my now business partner, Brett, and he and I were already, kind of like speaking in the background. We had met at Jeff Miller's event in early 2019 at Funnel Hacking Live, February 2019. So like 2 years ago this week, probably. Shout out, Brett. 2 years in the mix. Let's go. And, we had messaged each other privately saying like, he was at around 6 to 8 clients. I was at around 20 to 25 consistently in the months leading up to us joining forces. And he and I messaged each other saying the same thing, like, yo, man, you're in the med spa space. And like, I'm in the med spa space. And like, we're both struggling with the same things. Brett had a more robust team built out around him for fulfillment. And he had like simple processes for like, here's an intake form. This, once it's submitted, it auto creates a template of a campaign and it, duplicates this. And, then there are minor tweaks and the campaign gets reviewed and they can go live. And I had a very similar structure, but it was a little more disorganized because I was the one doing it instead of a fully empowered team. But what I was really good at up until that point and still am is acquisition through paid advertising. So prior to that point, he was never doing any paid advertising. I was really good at that for the last like 18 months leading up to November of 2019. That was pretty much how I got all of my clients. It was just paid ads, just Facebook and Instagram ads. So we merged forces, or we joined forces, and I think we kicked off our working relationship with like 28 to 35 active clients together. We did almost $80,000 in our first month together of November last year, or November 2019, which was amazing. And we cracked our first $100,000 cash collected month the following March. So that was March 2020. And then that was the month that COVID hit. The NBA shut down. The rest of the US and planet Earth shut down.
Yep.
So April, May, June, July last year were some of the most challenging, confusing months ever. We were trying to take any and all clients, whether they did Botox, laser hair removal, microneedling, vaginal rejuvenation, you name it. It was that's money. I'm going to say yes to it because I'm scared and I don't know what to do in my business. And right around that time was when we actually joined Joel's Inner Circle program, which is the premium version of Seven Figure Agency. It's a lot more intimate. You get, direct access to Omer, to Sergio, to Mark, to Joel, and we could do one-on-ones with them at the time. And now, they have, a different version of that program. But what that really helped us figure out at the time was, how do we create stronger offers and how do we generate more cash collected from every single client that we have? So things like, how do we start offering higher ticket coaching programs, or how do we start selling contracts or 90-day terms or 180-day terms instead of 30-day, 30 days to live, you have 30 days to get me results or else your systems suck. That shitty relationship that you have if you're doing done for you lead generation with people. So, we just grew so much at that time. Brett and I were starting to really form and organize a team a lot better. We hired on a full-time media buyer, eventually hired on Giovanni in June or July of 2020. Got a strategic partner in Connor Robertson. That's Dr. Connor Robertson, right around a similar timeline, June, July of last year, maybe. And then, hired our second sales rep in Donovan, who's now starting to get ramped up and he's crushing deals and closing deals. And, as of this week, we're actually looking to pivot over to just education and training. We're not actually going to be doing the done for you lead generation anymore. We're going to be charging quite a bit to educate, train, and provide resources on how you, the business owner, should not only be doing your done for you advertising yourself, but how you need to be better at sales, how we need to coach you on, stop selling smaller packages and raise prices and pitch, $5,000 packages instead of $350 ones, how to be better at scheduling and get people scheduled with a card on file and collecting paid deposits instead of just letting anybody and their grandmother schedule on your calendar with zero commitment. So now our journey is, we've been doing the exact same thing in the exact same niche for so long. we have a more intimate understanding of what people's problems are. And now our vision is, well, how do we craft programs and solutions that are tailored to solve specific problems now that we've fallen in love with the problems that our clients have and really learned what they are, gotten intimate with them, learned how to solve them. And it was by going deep, by going super deep and figuring out, what do these people really need outside of just leads? And now we are charging a premium for that because we've got a specifically packaged, tailored solution that is going to be extremely relevant and hot right now. And that's why we're growing. I mean, we've set a goal of trying to do 500,000 a month by like the start of Q3. I think that would be June or July, whatever month 7 is on the year. So in order to get there, we were like, hey, we need to serve people at a higher level, which means we need to create packages that we charge more for. So that's our journey right now. It started with Brett probably had the exact same experience. If you were to ask him, like he used to work in a call center and actually run that call center. And at some point he probably said the same thing I did, which was like, man, I see these other people doing big things out here and like nothing special that they're doing. They're just taking massive action and they got the right person whispering in their ear, like, hey, watch out for that mistake. And, make this simple 2 millimeter shift and offer this instead of this. And it's been amazing. It's just been a journey of growth.
Wow, that was a lot. If you guys are getting value from this, please drop a 1. Please drop a 1. Give Nick Corum some love because he's dropping some fire sauce for you guys. This is how good Nick is. I have all these questions I need to get answers, and he's answering them before I'm even asking them. But don't worry, I have a shit ton more questions. So let's get some love. Let's get some ones. I do see a few people asking questions. We're going to get to them towards the end here. Because one of the things that you mentioned, and we kind of skipped over this, Donovan and Giovanni were running agencies at one point. And I think that they are both talented at sales. And even though Giovanni, actually, if you guys meet him, he's a pretty shy individual. He's not someone that's super extroverted. He's very into himself, not necessarily into himself, but it's very private. And because what he saw with Nick and Brett, this is what motivated me. He believed in them so much that he moved from Virginia, I believe, to Denver, took a chance on them, just like they took a chance on him. And now he's closing, if not hundreds of deals in the last 6 months, which has been amazing. So one of the things that I mentioned on my live on Tuesday, some of you guys are struggling with the agency so hard, and you haven't really earned the right to run an agency. You haven't earned the right. And I actually want to go back to you. One of the things, Nick, you skipped over. You acquiring those clients, the Dr. Elliott and the 10 to 15, were you running ads? How did you acquire your first 5, 10, 15 clients? Because this was pre-Jeff Miller, obviously pre-Joel. Like, where did you get these people from?
Great question. How to get clients. By the way, shout out to everybody who's watching. Langdon, shout out. Nick Corum, Mario, Dimitri, Stevie. Yes. I think I saw Marion and Mary on there earlier. I'm just trying to load all the comments here.
Yep.
The first 15 clients. Wow. Definitely through paid advertising. I think, when you come into the 7-figure agency program, or I'll give my example. When we came into the 7-figure agency program I think I started maybe June or July 2019, maybe August, maybe. Joel and what the team was teaching at the time was just all paid advertising. Like it was all, how do you put $1 in and get $4 out? How do you get appointments on the calendar consistently? How do you get rid of the volatility in your business where you're not consistently seeing 10 to 15 appointments per calendar minimum on the week, every single week? So my first 10 to 15 clients definitely came from paid ads. I put an offer out there. Actually made a really cool video of me in Lima, Peru in about July or October 2018. And I used that video for about a year and a half. And the reason that video converted so well, Omer, and for everybody watching, you'll hear me, make this sentiment consistently. I had to really think. By that time, I had probably served, I'll say 30 to 40 people total in my whole career of SMMA, social media marketing agency, or a lead gen agency, right? Which everybody is thinking of doing in this group, I'm certain. So I had to really think, and I was, I'm happy to be on camera. I like being on camera. I'm also a dancer and I love to perform on a stage. So I didn't really get fazed by being in a setting where I had to record a video. But what I had to figure out was, what do I say to everybody who I haven't yet served? And how do I define the messaging that's going to highlight, number one, I understand what problems you have in your business right now. And I really had to understand and think to myself, for about an hour, I was just walking around with a notebook and I said, what do all of my clients hate? It's like, what do they want to see less of? What do they hate? Like, people can so readily define what they want to see less of, what they hate, what they dislike about their body, what they dislike about working with, a vendor or their mentor, right? Or somebody on their team. Sometimes it's harder to identify those things that you really like about people. So in the, lexicon of like writing good ad copy, I had to think, how do I like really hit those pain points right off the bat and come up with a message that's going to resonate with people that I want to work with. So I got on camera and I started saying things like, and rehearsing to myself before I got on camera, I was like, whoa, 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 I need you to stop what you're doing, as I wave my hands around, if you've seen that video. And the messaging was, if you are a, chiropractor, medical spa owner, Botox injector, plastic surgery office, whomever, and I need you to stop wasting thousands of dollars on paid advertising that does not get you 30 to 100 new booked appointments who actually walk through your doors and buy every single month. My name is Nick and I do this, X, Y, and Z. And if you're interested, like, hop on a call with me, blah, blah, blah. But it was that one line of me proving to people who were my audience that I had nailed the messaging in my avatar, which was, hey, most people who come and work with me, they had already spent money on paid advertising and it didn't work. What did they actually want? They wanted to see more people through their doors who actually showed up and purchased, but not just purchased high ticket things. So I really started connecting the dots on how to grow things after I did the grunt work of getting to 10 clients, 15 clients, 20 clients, 30 clients closed, not active all at the same time, because I definitely lost people in that period of time, people that I served really, really poorly. But I had to learn, and I had to learn through that experience. And after a significant period of time learning, I didn't say to myself, like, F this niche, like F medical spa owners and Botox injectors and people who do body sculpting, like they're all trash. And instead of saying something like that, specifically for the people that I couldn't get results for, and I was like, I'm so frustrated, like I'm going to do something else. I need to change niches. I just tried to figure out how to double down and go deeper. So I actually recorded a video recently, which was, if I had to start all over and choose the right niche, I would choose the best niche. And here, dude, what's crazy? For everybody on this call, I actually have the best niche.
Let's hear it.
Yo, throw a 3 in the chat. I'm only going to do it if we. So I love sharing valuable stuff, but I don't like doing it unless there's like commitment and action, like oriented people who are going to like take the advice. Throw a 3 in the chat if you're serious about like the one niche. It's a 3 in the chat. I need to see a lot of 3s or I'm not going to do this. Yes. Throw a 3 in the chat if you want to hear what is the absolute best #1 niche to be in right now. It's February 2021 as we're recording this video. Yes. Somebody said a 6, and I don't think that's a 3. So I'm going to count -1 for that one. Throw a 3 in the chat. A 3 in the chat if you're serious. If you want to hear it. All right. I'm seeing enough people. That's about 10. I think we're halfway there.
We're getting some 3.
I think we're halfway there.
Nice.
If you really want to know what is the best niche to be in right now, I've looked at every niche on the planet, and honestly, the best niche to be in right now, it's the one that you're in right now. Crazy, right? Crazy. Omer, dude, I can't believe you made me say that. Oh my God. Because I'm just going to drop so much value right here. The best niche to be in right now is the one that you're already in and the one that you're struggling with right now. Because here's the honest truth. We made over $1 million selling one offer to one audience, and that audience, Omer, I want you to guess how big it is. Like maybe it's in the millions, like hundreds of thousands. Like I want you to it's $1 million niche, bro. The one that we're in right now. Like how many users, how many people do you think are in that one? It's got to be pretty big.
I actually know, but I'm gonna over exaggerate for these people because you're making it sound like there's a lot of people, but I'm well aware. it sounds like there's 100,000 businesses, but in reality, Nicorum, how many businesses are there in the med spa niche?
Dude, in our specific vertical, because we actually have a joint venture with one body sculpting company, and so honestly, it's not even a joint venture. We're just the official like recommended vendor, one of 3 recommended vendors, and most of our like clients that we get, it's actually through like an ecosystem of things we do for acquisition. So the company themselves isn't really like feeding us clients. We still go out and like find ways to get them. There are honestly like 800 people on planet Earth who offer the thing, which in this case is cryoskin, like 800 people maybe who even own and operate that machine right now. 800. And in the past, we'll say 5 months since September. So this is just, the run that we went on when, Giovanni was here in like June, July of last year. For those first 2-3 months of his working time here, we were going after like physical therapists, chiropractors, medical spa owners, some cryoskin, some cryo T-shock, some cool sculpting. Like anybody and everybody could get it if they wanted to work with us. But what we decided to do was, hey, we can't scale something that we're not going to. Basically, we had to have a conversation with ourselves. It's, do we want to have shiny object syndrome and serve everybody? Or do we want to laser focus, say no to a lot of things, and get really, really, really good at serving just one audience and figuring out how to scale that? Just one audience. And our audience was only 800 people. But guess what happened?
100. Which means that, before you go, which means that if Giovanni and Donovan were cold calling these businesses in 4 days, less than a week, they would be out of businesses to talk to.
The run that we went on. Pretty much that. For the volume of people that are in that space, that are in that niche, we pretty much ran through it in an extremely short period of time. So when other people chime in posts in your group, the struggle that I see people having is, you're just afraid to commit and go deep. And again, this goes back to like, I have so many anecdotes that I think are relevant on this topic. For people who are afraid to go deep and commit, like Dan Tiemann is actually somebody who just, commented on this. So shout out Dan. I'll use Dan and Colin as an example because, they did the exact same thing with Stealth Media. So Dan at, the time, it was like October or November of last year. Dan, throw me something in the chat so I know you're still watching and you're cool with me, like just highlighting your story too. So I'm just going to continue until you tell me to stop. Dan was, doing something very similar where he served like everybody in the medical spa space. And, what he had to do is basically learn to say no to, the diversity of offers that they have there. One person will want to do Botox, the next person will want to do venous body sculpting. And the next guy, Dr. Mordkovich Tan, is going to want to do like 8 different things. And the challenge quickly became, hey, I've got to learn to just go after one offer, one specific vertical, one sub niche of a niche. Like just get really good at doing one thing and learn to say no to the rest of everything else. And that journey is a painful one. Like it's too easy to say to yourself, hey, I'm going to give myself the green light to fail because my failures are rooted in the niche itself, instead of looking inward and suggesting what I really need to get good at is just focusing on one thing. So Botox, for example, somebody could build the next best Botox agency and they're literally just go after only Botox. How many nurse practitioners and MDs are there in the US who are actually licensed to inject Botox? Maybe 5,000. Maybe 10,000, right? Dan is even mentioning in the chat right now, he used to like selling just Botox and teaching the filler upsells, right? So, and somebody asked, why not scale horizontally? Dimitri, that's a great question. I think what people need to learn at a very, very early stage is you can build $1 million per month company in almost any niche. The difference is you have to get really, really good at solving one person's specific set of problems and learn how to go much, much deeper than just lead generation. So for example, we at Patient Rhino have Right now, it's actually 6 weekly, 6 calls per week, 6 group coaching calls. 3 of them are, included with anybody who's in our program. You get Monday, Wednesday, Fridays in the afternoon. 3 or 4 of those other calls are actually with me. It's in a private, like, beta group coaching program where we're just teaching how to get cards on file for your appointments, collecting a paid deposit or a card on file, doing virtual sales over Zoom, like how to have 25 people see if they're a good fit for CryoSkin instead of 1 at a time face to face. And then how to be even better at selling higher ticket packages instead of just like single sessions or 3-session packages, which cost like $300 to $900. How can we start selling packages closer to $1,500 to $5,000 in value? So Dimitri, to answer that question directly, why not scale horizontally? Why not scale vertically? Because I don't want to go after the microneedling person down the place from the CryoSkin office, because I know that if I can fall in love with one person and their problems, I can get really, really good at solving that specific set of problems and add in additional value adds, things like, can I coach them sales? Can I coach them and teach them how to be better entrepreneurs? I have a 13-person team that does multiple 7 figures per year. Most of the clients that we work with, they might not even hit 6 figures on the year. And most of them will never hit a 6-figure month. And we consistently hit 6-figure months. So as we went deeper into that one vertical, Dimitri, we just learned, well, instead of going wide and having to, as we currently do, which is a done-for-you lead generation service, which we're going to pivot away from and just go into coaching. So we give them the education, the training, and the resources so they can do this for themselves. The adage of, instead of giving an office a fish, teach them to fish so they can feed themselves every day for life. What we learned was, instead of creating all these templates for we had to say to ourselves, hey, if we're going to stick with this done for you model, which means we're doing lead generation, we are doing the work for you, we are getting leads for you, we are building the systems that get you the leads. We had to stay focused on one thing, just one thing. And we did that to the tune of like $200,000+ per month consistently for the last like 2 or 3 months now. And there's no need to go horizontally until you decide to change up your offer or until you genuinely tap out the niche, which last month we pretty much did. And now we're making the transition to now, Dimitri, scaling horizontally, which just means going wider, but with education and training resources, meaning we're doing coaching, meaning we're doing done with you. Instead of us doing the work for you, we give you the education, we give you the training, we give you the resources, and we coach and hold you accountable while being your cheerleader as we see you doing this for yourself. Throw 7 in the chat if that makes sense, guys. Like going, like that's 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Because I want to make sure I'm not losing anybody, because I think that 7-figure agency, throw 7 for the 7-figure agency, right?
I was really, wait, one second. You're going really deep in this, but this is very valuable because some of you guys are trying to go horizontal with 2 clients. And I believe that Nick, and he can probably confirm this, like you guys probably try to go horizontal even with COVID. You were saying you guys, I believe, even tried to go after PTs and chiros at one point. But then you realize, like, okay, if we start taking all this business at all at once, we're going to continue hitting a stale point. But when we focus and we start adding different packages and we actually go deeper and deeper and deeper, we're going to be able to hit the 500K, 600K months, right? This is actually what Katie and Jordan are going to be one of my guests at one point. I'm going to talk to them about. They did the same thing in the beauty salon niche. So this is deep stuff, guys. This is why you want to go deep rather than wide. And I think most agencies love the wide because you want to accept all businesses. It's a lot easier. Seems like a lot easier. Nick, you can speak about this, right? Because come COVID, you guys went after PTs, you went after chiros. When did you guys realize we need to go deeper instead of just wider because we're just going to continue hitting the stale point?
It's because we did the exact same thing that we now see so many other people doing. And we wish, Brett and I wish we could go back in time and like not do this. I think people want to take what I call the buffet route. Throw an 8 in the chat, just if the word like buffet route makes sense. I'm actually going to throw it in there so people in the recording can see this buffet route. What I think a lot of people believe is going to work for them is they say, I'm going to go into the buffet of, maybe auto dealers, maybe chiropractors, maybe medical spa owners, maybe PTs, maybe roofers. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get to 10 clients as fast as I possibly can. And I'm going to have like 8 different clients in different verticals. I might have 2 medical spa owners, like 2 physical therapists, and then the other 6 people are just completely different verticals. I'm going to test and I'm going to see which one I like the most, which one I can get the best results in. And then I'm going to scale that one. Like I've seen so many people say that so many times over, and they say it because they think what they're saying to themselves is like, I'm doing the diligence of testing. And that's like how to let the data tell me which one to go after. Here's data for you. Every single one of those fucking niches is going to suck at some point. Like, you're going to scale to 5 clients, and then 10 clients, and then 20 clients, and then 50. And then if you really go deep, 100 clients in one of those. And every niche has its own unique set of problems. Every single one. The problem with the buffet approach is you will never go deep enough in any one of those niches to truly identify what challenges do they really have and how do I build a program that isn't just generating leads, but it's something more robust than that. You can't really get to that level like a Jordan and Katie who are doing Real Beauty Bosses, and they're doing amazing freaking work. Like for the first time, I actually saw somebody post in a Facebook group that literally has like all 600 of the potential offices that we could serve. There were a bunch of people like supporting Patient Rhino. Somebody asked like, is Patient Rhino any good? There were like 18 people who chimed in and had amazing things to say. And there were 2 people who were like, Patient Rhino sucks. And I was like, okay, 90% success rate. Like, I'll take it. And then one person chimed in there and they were like, hey, actually, the Real Beauty Bosses team is legit. So Jordan and Katie's background, much like Dan and Colin's background, was they actually got to that level where they did the done for you advertising over and over and over again for the same vertical or the same like sub offers within the same vertical. So like Dan started doing physical therapists and he was doing done for you lead generation for them. He probably got to 10, 20, 30 of them once he realized like, hey, these people need way more than just me pumping leads into their business. Like the analogy that I make these days is when you put 2 systems together. So here's my system, which is Patient Rhino, that's going to do done for you lead generation. And I'm going to bolt that on to your system, which is your business. What happens when you put 2 systems into each other and they connect? The 2 systems quickly expose the flaws and the gaps and the opportunities for improvement in each other's systems. So what happens on our end? We realize, oh, snap, like getting them leads could be better if we did it this way, but they also need help with like 18 other things, because once we give them 20 leads in a day and none of them get contacted for 2 or 3 days, hey, maybe done for you lead generation isn't the only thing that we need to offer and build for people. Maybe we actually need to work on their appointment setting culture in their business. If you actually go back and survey some of your clients that you might have served at a really high level, but lost within the last 3 to 6 months, reach out and ask if they have systematically grown or scaled their business in any way. Have you done more revenue per month recently? Have you hired team members? Have you structured higher ticket offers in your program and charged people more money for the way that you serve them? Have you upsold or ascended people into recurring like monthly membership packages or retainers for something? And if they say, no to all of those things, well, then you learn, hey, a lot of times what people really need is they either need to be taught how to do things in their business that they don't know how to do, or they need to be reminded what they should be doing and what they should be focusing on. And again, that loops back to my original story of why I wish I had invested in paid advertising and paid mentorship and paid coaching for like me and the people on my team. It's why I wish I had invested in all of that so much earlier, because if I had invested in that earlier, I would have been able to avoid some of the problems of things like niche hopping. Like if you're going to come into Joel's program, 7-figure agency program, that team is going to niche slap you across the face. You're going to get niche slapped if they see that you're just hopping around, you're saying yes to like 10 different people in a short period of time, and you're not going really deep on just one thing. And the only way to really grow your business is to get really finite and really specific on the avatar, the people that you're going to serve. And I know we like talked about that at length at the mastermind event. I know that I shared a video in like either this group or the 7-figure agency group, the private one, just sharing the same sentiment. Like, you're in the right niche. There's $1 million to be made in almost any niche. Like, that's honest truth. You just have to figure out and go deep on what solution is product market fit. Like, what immediate problems do they have? How can you solve them immediately? But then longer term, they're going to need more help than just that one thing that you solved for them. And you really need to do that for like 20, 30, 50, 100 people over and over and over again until you get good at solving that one problem. But then one day you can get confident saying to yourself, much like Jordan and Katie did, much like Dan and Colin did, you're going to say to yourself at some point, hey, it would actually be better if I just educated and trained these people and gave them the resources for them to do it themselves. And I am just here to be their cheerleader, their accountability coach, and make sure that they follow the processes that I give them and don't deviate away from that. Because at some point, you're going to need to shift into business coaching, but you can't do that. Everybody wants to like just be a coach. Like Joel and his team mentions this consistently. Like, you have to earn the right. You have to earn your stripes. And the way you do that is not by having 30 clients in 30 different niches. Like, your systems are going to be wacky as hell. Like, and you're not going to be able to scale that at all. You can get up to like $30,000 to $40,000, $50,000 a month serving a wide variety of people, but you'll never grow past that, and you'll never be able to build a team and systems around something like that. Like, it just genuinely doesn't work that way.
No, for sure.
So that's my challenge for everybody on this live and watching the replay. Like, go deep, just go really, really deep, because good things happen when you go deep.
I like it. Balls deep. It is crazy because, Nick, if you came to Joel, myself, Sergio a year ago telling us your plan now, a year ago, we would have been like, you're fucking crazy. Don't do it. So I think you guys have now earned the right to go and do what you guys are doing. So props to you guys, because again, it takes time. You've earned the right. Katie and Jordan have earned the right? You have other people that earned the right. Look, Nick, we have less than 10 minutes, and I want to make sure we get to some of these beautiful people's questions. Even the people that joined earlier on, I want to give them some love. I don't have their names here, but someone here, and we don't have to get too deep on this, but are you doing a prepaid appointment or free consultation for your clients? Let's just talk about in the beginning. Obviously, right now, you guys are doing something way different, but someone in the beginning, obviously, this guy's in the medical niche. Do you recommend doing a prepaid appointment or a free consultation?
So I'm assuming the scope of that question is B2C. When we run ads for our clients in their local brick and mortar office, I'm assuming the context of the question is, what offer do they run? I am actually a huge fan of never including the words free, like the 4 letters FREE, anywhere in the ad copy and the funnel of whatever offer you're promoting. I am a huge fan of crafting what are called strong direct offers. So the simplest of offers is get Botox for only $9.99 per unit. And don't put the words free, and don't even put the words consultation in there. Like, I think people implicitly understand that if I am going to get something that's going to cost me money, the process of figuring out how much of that I'm going to need and how much it's going to cost me, like, it's understood that that is a zero cost, not free, a zero cost process. So I don't even put the words free in there. It seems like the Facebook algorithm just is designed to optimize and show that to like the brokest people in every network or in every like local radius. So that's what I recommend. Come up with a really strong, simple offer. Like, get slimming and toning for as low as X dollars per session, or an 8-week mommy makeover get an 8-week mommy makeover with CryoSkin, and don't even like mention the price. I always tell my clients, like, you can advertise price, but you always need to present a range, right? Yes. We have packages for $1,500 to $6,000, or sessions can be as low as $200 to $350 per session. So at the very least, you kind of price qualify people, but there's always still a range. So that's what I recommend. You don't necessarily need to do prepaid. That's way more complex. And of course, it's what everybody wants. But we kind of do a hybrid of like, we coach people how to get prepaid appointments on the back end. We don't do it for them because it's not scalable.
Yeah, and then that kind of answers the questions of how do you craft your offer, right? Obviously, you got to know your niche, right? Nick is probably one of the only people that I've met in the industry that has been with his niche from day one. So his knowledge and his craftiness comes from experience. He's been doing this for 4 years. He's been doing med spa marketing for longer than some med spas have been around. So you guys are just getting started. You want to learn how to craft your offers. He's answered this. Get to know them on a deeper level. Get to know what their bigger problems are so you can craft the offers. When someone asks me that kind of question, that tells me you don't really know your niche. You can't ask that kind of questions like, oh, I know my niche, but I don't know what to offer them. Well, let's take this one right here, Nick. So it says, I find it difficult on how to target med spas on Facebook. You have a targeting like an advice, whether it's an age, whether it's an area. I know obviously every area is a little bit different. There's no like certain signs to it, but how did you guys get better at targeting?
Two things, and I'm going to share them out of order. So the very first thing that I want to share is your ad copy, your messaging should really be clear on calling out your avatar correctly. So what does that mean? Let's use an example in the medical spa space. Let's say you want to go after everybody who offers Restylane. You would say Restylane injectors at the very top of your above the fold ad copy. I think the one thing about the medical spa space is you need to be really good at calling out your avatar. That is why I always mention that the reason that we're really good at doing the cryoskin stuff is because we've learned to fall in love with that avatar. We call them out directly. And then in our ad copy, we're really speaking to their pain points and their problems. And the targeting itself, so that specifically you get the messaging right first. But the targeting is really not that complex. You do need to invest into buying lists. So those are email lists, those are phone number lists. If you even get names of people in there, so long as it's HIPAA compliant or CAN spam compliant, which you need to check and look up whether you can or even should, like blast people with voice drops or texts or emails without getting a double opt-in from them. So you need to be very careful about that. But targeting people shouldn't be that challenging. The other thing is for people to be aware of, the medical spa space is actually relatively small. It's not a 500,000 location setup in the US. There are maybe like 5 to 15,000 of those medical spas or salons or clinics, however you might define them. It's not a gigantic community, even though it's consistently growing. So targeting them and finding them online shouldn't be that challenging. Finding the right ones is a little more challenging, but finding medical spa owners or salon clinic spa owners isn't really that challenging at all. Get a list first and then try doing interest targeting after that. But still to this day, like just get a list first and run traffic to that. Like go buy one from D7, Yellow Pages, like whatever are the platforms that people are selling lists on. Go post in this group. There will be 5 to 10 people who hit you up saying, yo, I got a list for you.
I love it, Nick. Thank you so much, bro. This was usually I talk a little bit more. I wanted to give you all the spotlight because you dropped a lot of golden nuggets. If you guys got value, there's over 50 people live, that's freaking awesome. Makes me really happy that this many people are paying attention, which tells me that you guys are all wanting to improve. You want to get 1% better. You're seeing Nick, who's been in the industry for 3 to 4 years. 3 to 4 years from now, that could be you. I could be interviewing you guys. You guys can be interviewing us. So if you guys got some value from this, drop the number 9. We've done 1, we've done 3, we've done 7. We're going to go to 9. Drop some 9. Give Nick some love. Nick, any final words of encouragement, motivation, inspiration for those who are struggling? They went through freaking hell and back. They lost their business, maybe their family members to COVID, and just any last thing that you can tell someone that I'll say this. I'll rephrase this question. What would you tell yourself 4 years ago, if you could, right now on this live, when you first started and you quit your job and you just got the Dan Henry thingy-majiggy?
what I tell myself is figure out where Joel is at and ask him, like, can I pay you $5,000 just to like coach me personally right now? Because that was about when, you know, Joel and Marcos were beginning to make their journey with Atlas Digital and start that thing up and pop it off. So what I would say to myself 4 years ago is constantly ask yourself the question, how can I find somebody to model who's doing exactly what I want to be doing right now? And instead of being arrogant, I'll just say arrogant. Instead of being arrogant, like this is to me personally, go pay that person money who has the solution to help you out. Even when I was like never broke, but I didn't have like more than sometimes 5,000-10,000 in the bank account, like even my business and personal when I was just getting started. And it's scary. Like it's a really scary process to know that you do at some point, everybody realizes this, you have to which means you have to be uncomfortable with the amount that you are paying for mentorship or coaching. And I wish I had told myself that earlier, because now we're coaching our clients to break those types of limiting beliefs that also drive their inability to sell high ticket packages and feel comfortable asking for a card on file and feel comfortable taking a deposit. It's just something that I wish I had started joining communities like this much earlier, but paying to join them, because we do not value that which is free. There are 46 people watching this live right now. I guarantee fewer than 2 or 3 people are going to take any action on what's being presented here. If I gave this same presentation to people in the 7-figure agency group, which, you know, you guys know how much that program costs, there would be over 50% of those people taking massive action, whatever is suggested in its call. And then if you went one step further to, you know, Joel's inner circle, which charges a lot of money per month, which is still a great value, you know, there'd be 50% of the people who executed on this shit by the time the call ends. Like they'd be hitting their team and be like, yo, I think we got to schedule something because we need to like switch this immediately.
Now.
So I would tell myself, invest harder earlier and take more action and stay patient with whatever the person I'm paying money to is coaching me on. I'm going to repeat that really simply once again. If I could go back in time and speak to myself in 2017, I was still working for that SaaS software company. I would say, well, number one, don't buy Dan Henry's program, buy somebody else's, because, you know, but whomever it is, right? Go all in, invest in it, take massive action with it. Keep doing that until it hurts. Like keep paying people money to help you solve your problems until it's like uncomfortable. Like step out of your comfort zone with the amount that you invest in your own education. Like Omer's literally got it tatted on his freaking hands. Like somebody who believes in that is absolutely at the age of like 22, 23. Like Omer's not just a part of 7-figure agency and managing the sales team at this stage. He's also somebody who runs his own company for, I believe it's just talent sourcing. Like you are finding virtual assistants. And you are telling people who are trying to join 7FA, like, yo, don't use the time excuse and don't use the resources excuse. Like, don't give me any excuse. Like, I'll find you somebody you can pay $4 to $8 an hour to do the prospecting for you. Like, take that leap and go through that journey as early and as painfully as you possibly can. Do it at the age of 19 instead of the age 26 or 27. If you're much older and advanced than that, like do it now, because you can't wait. Like you can't give yourself an excuse to say, well, the stars are going to line up for me in April once I do my taxes and get a little return or something like that. Like the compound interest of you doing it now is just insanely valuable. Like somebody that might be recognized or a notable name in the space now is Jared Curry. Like the guy's 19 years old. He's selling e-com deals, coaching deals. Like I think he crossed a 6-figure month recently.
Yep.
He is 19. Like if you put me into this world at the age of 19, like we'd be talking about me at age 19 doing all that shit. And probably a lot of you too, right? Most of you are older than age 19. If you were in a program like this at age 19, you would probably be killing it too, because you're clearly indicating to yourself that I am willing to go all in. I am willing to put money on myself, to bet on myself, and to figure it out. So I do have to run. I really hope that's value added for everybody. Feel free to message me personally later tonight, much later tonight. Yes. I'll spend some time going through those messages and just like fielding questions. If you've also got questions about like actually joining Joel's program, don't ask me how much it costs. It's a lot. It should be a lot. They should charge way more. But if you are on the fence and you are thinking about it, like this is somebody who has, I've now probably paid like what, Omer, like probably over 50K to Joel and his team, you know, in his program, like 17 or something.
Yeah.
So can't say enough good things about it. But for those of you who are still watching, who are on the fence, like you do need to find someone who's going to kick your ass into gear, and you need to find them as fast as possible. That's literally what I wish I could go back and tell myself in 2016, like even 10 years prior to that. Like I wish I could tell my 18-year-old self, like, dude, just fuck college. Like go find anybody who's in the space who's doing digital advertising and just figure that shit out right now. Do it now and pay multiple people. An 18-year-old me would be like, that's making me super uncomfortable right now, right? 100%. But that's what we pay for. Like mentorship is paying for people who have already gone through that journey, are one to many steps ahead of you, and have more insight on how to accelerate your growth through that similar transformation faster than the way they did it. Learn from their mistakes. Pay money to accelerate your growth. Omer, that could be your next stat. Pay money to accelerate your growth. And like,
pay money to accelerate your growth. I think some people really think that I have hand tattoos. Not yet. Maybe one day when I'm rich. But Nick, I really genuinely appreciate your time. I appreciate you, the wisdom. A lot of people got a lot of fucking love. I'm sure you're gonna get some DMs throughout the day. Guys, if you have questions about 7FA, you have questions about Favo, which is my like Nick said, my VA company, feel free to shoot us a message anytime. Nick, again, I cannot appreciate his time enough. And I'm sure we're gonna do this one day again. Next time I want to have Brett on as well, because he's a whole other beast, right?
For sure, man. Get the whole team on at some point.
Yes, for sure. Thank you so much.